Okay, we're back. You probably saw a lot of stuff here. Headache map. You probably heard the sounds I mean of the map being hosted, but we finally have things set up. Some people are saying it's reported wrong on the brackets. Yeah, I see it's saying he won a game, but he's not. This is the very first game of the series. It's going to be Gettysburg, Galactic, Frost, and this is New Gettysburg. So it's game number 1 starting up. Oh, you beautiful bastard. Mwah, mwah. Oh, right, I've got host. Awkward. Okay. I still have a bit of a coughing fit. You're going to hear some muting here and there. Some of the other people you saw in the lobby, guys, the Gauntlet casting crew also going to be casting alongside this. So if you get fed up and say, oh, Rifkin's missing too much of the action, you can always check out their stream as well. I think Wardy's covering the other side of the semifinals as well. That's going to be Violet versus True or Major. I'm not sure which. Oh, there's those hearts in chat. Dude, Terminator, what a friggin' guy. Thank you so much, Terminator. Anyways, oh. Excuse me, forgot to mute for that one because I'm trying to get rid of these stupid little tags. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the round of 8 still for the KeSPA Cup qualifiers. Oh, one sec. I was fine a minute ago, now I'm dying. Spawning here on the bottom right side of the map, playing for Team Elevate, the challenger to say the least. It's Bales. But I call him the challenger because he's the king in North America. It's Neeb. Excuse me while I hack and cough my brains out. That's when the awkward sounds are going to come in. Now, some of you guys going to be asking where's Zombie Grip tonight, because we got a lot of people just joining us recently on the stream. She's not available to cast, unfortunately. Oh, Bales. What? This is a forge. He's cannon rushing Neeb. What? Hold the phone for a lot of different reasons. Second probe comes to make up for that first one potentially dying. He really wanted to put the cannon in this little nook, but it's not going to happen. Cannon goes down on the low ground. What? What? Okay, so this is really clever out of Neeb. I want to stress the importance of what's happening here. This pylon could have reached this gateway. The fact that he blocked that out means no cannon can be built there anymore, and that's no longer an issue. But Bales is going to use these cannons to cover his high ground pylon to put more cannons up here, so this will still work out for him in the end. This is so cool. I've not seen a good old cannon rush in so long, but Neeb's also got a really cool reaction to this. He knows that things may get out of hand, so he takes the gold base in the top center. It's actually really smart because we'll be able to transfer away all those probes to safety, and the reality is the Zealots coming across the map because Bales, usually most cannon rushers won't have something at home, but he's already building a cannon in his mineral line. He'll have a mothership core ideally at some point to help as well, but for now it's just the photon cannon. Back at home, that Nexus will die, and it'll die slowly over time. These probes are going to wait for their opportunity to run. He doesn't want to make it too obvious. If it becomes apparent that he's going to run for it, Bales will hit 2 pylons down and completely wall off that ramp. Oh, now I got hiccups. This isn't good. I'm just slowly dying here, guys. So the cannons might control this base, but this base is no longer that important. And oh, he's gonna recall! This is so fucking sick out of Neeb. He's not gonna try and run by at all. He's gonna wait for all of this, and he's just gonna recall away. And every probe will get out safe and sound. No fuss, no muss. Now, ideally, he doesn't want Bales to realize that. And Bales maybe realizes it because he's had to fight this enough times. Maybe he's had someone beat him by doing this. Maybe he hasn't. But I will tell you guys, from watching Terran players getting cannon rushed to players like Huck and others, this is the greatest response he could have shot for. I really like it. And he's even going to try and finish Warp Gate. I'm not sure if we'll get that in time. But the funny thing is, the economy for Neeb just spiked crazy doing this. We don't have BaseTradeTV graphs, I can't show you, but I guarantee you, we just saw the graphs go from like this to this. And the gold base saturation is fully done, so we can take those gases. Oh, he's so good to go. Now, the gateways, the cyber core, these are all things he has to unfortunately replace, and it looks like he might not get to finish up warp gate tech in time before the pylon goes down. These two probes are dealing a fair amount of damage. Stalker comes up northwards to see if this is where the base is being rebuilt. It is, but with a photon overcharge, I don't think he's in too much trouble. The Zealot could have ran away and perhaps kept the Stalker from scouting this, but he much would have rather taken this fight on. Because one of the interesting things he can do is use high ground to his advantage. Not around the watchtower though. He's gotta be careful. The mothership core already getting a little bit low. So it looks like Warp Gate didn't get to finish. He did have to start it up again over here. Chronos it out. He's got his own stalkers. His production should be better than that of Bale's, but both players are basically fully saturated. The production game is just a little bit late to the party for Neeb. He's going to bait this into the overcharge. Backs away from that. Bale's now fighting with 3 stalkers. Can still fight this, but not within an overcharge. It's a really delicate situation, and another pylon comes down, not just because he needs supply, but that will also cover another part of his mineral lines. I really don't know if Neeb can necessarily win definitively from this position, but it is worth noting that they are still on even footing. Despite the fact that Neeb has a lot of minerals wasted in the loss category, he's got this much that's been wasted for his opponent as well. 300, so like 900, almost 1,000 minerals worth of buildings invested in down there. Mothership core goes down, though. This starts getting a little bit troublesome. That overcharge was something he had to rely on for quite some time. The Immortal pops out in a second. That's going to be a huge advantage. This one stalker fighting for his life. If those stalkers come too close, the probes will get pulled. They can surround. Probes do really good against stalkers. 2 more stalkers also going to spawn in a second. The damage they bring to the party is huge. It's very important he doesn't lose too much. A lot of these stalkers from Bale's almost dead. Pushes this back. Greens control the high ground. And with 6 probes down and a gold base being the only thing he can rely on, I think the Immortal still gives him the better edge in this situation. Shout out to Set Guitars to kill, Set Guitars to cheese for this game, am I right? For 15 months. Wow, it says Rifkin smells. I do, with my nose. And unfortunately, I do smell terrible with it because it's... I have BO. There you go. Full circle. Brought that joke back. Nailed it. Now we're left in a very awkward predicament because Neeb would love to push out into Bale's base. I think he knows for a certainty that he was faster on that Robo game and thus should have more Immortals. But the problem is the second he moves out, he gives up any chance of defending the base he has secured up here in the gold. So he's going to send the Adepts first. I think he'll realize the full army of Bales is down there, and once he does, then he can move out with the rest of his army. But again, a sticky spot, a frustrating situation. Neeb handling it like a pro. This was so cool seeing the cannons too, by the way. Because I think Cannon Rush versus Zerg or Terran, you kind of roll your eyes like, what a noob, because there's such a cheesy strategy. But versus Protoss is so ballsy. Neeb's not going to go for an attack. He decides to expand instead. I mean, this is not exactly a terrible solution to the situation either. Get ahead in economy. But the gold base will mine out fairly quickly. So my concern is Neeb's not going to need 1 base, but he'll need like 2. So unless he knocks down Bales and puts him on 1 base economy, Bales will eventually just win out on the income war. And if he wins out on the income war, he's going to win out on the make it units to fight war. 2 Immortals going to the main with good amount of control can do a lot of damage, more than Adepts can even. Cannon doesn't stand a chance to stop this either. The Immortals will tear right through it. His best bet's going to be focusing down the probes. You know, 1 volley from each gets probes and can kill pylons pretty easily. It's a lot less about doing much else. And oh, he turned off barrier. He turned off auto barrier. That's so cool. That's going to be clutch if he uses this correctly, but the Immortal's taking some very serious damage. Still not using that barrier just yet. Baits the barriers. There we go. 1 barrier burn. The other barrier on cooldown. Tries to pull away. He wants to get out with these Immortals alive. Get as much damage done as he can beforehand. Because, of course, barrier comes off cooldown in about 15 seconds, plus shields regenerate while he's inside that Warp Prism. 5 probes go down. Not too shabby. He's still behind a fair margin, and a weapons upgrade for Bales. It's going to be huge. Someone in chat whining about Terrans getting cannon rushed, and while it's true, Terrans don't have recall, Terrans can lift their buildings. Okay, I've been in enough scenarios of that I don't find it to be that big of a problem. Looks like he can reach the assimilator from here, so he'll take advantage of the situation presented to him. Yeah, knocks that down with relative ease. Adept's contemplating going in. I think if he gets us to the mineral line while the army's out of position, that could actually go really well for him, but again, playing it safe. Warp Prism comes northwards, but nope, driven back by that stalker. Some people are reporting sound lag again. This is really weird. I want to know why there's some inconsistency in some viewers are seeing audio desync, others are seeing it be perfectly fine. I mean, we have 2,000 people tuning in. I would assume that if there was problems, we'd see a lot more complaints. So I'm going to just urge you guys to refresh the stream, and if that still doesn't fix it, I don't know. Anyways, this fight doesn't go so hot for Neeb. He's using that micro on the Immortals again. Finally put auto cast back onto the barriers. And that Phoenix will drive off this Warp Prism eventually. But trading out not too badly on the ground while this happens. Barrier saving a lot of the Immortals. And Neeb being pushed back. But the army supplies, again, not too different. Phoenix lifts up the Immortal. It's going to die, unfortunately, when it's dropped. Ouch. That kind of sucks. Neeb's left with a very tattered and injured army. I think this is where the weapons start really taking precedent. Alright, unit type coming into play. 13 Adepts to 1. The Adepts aren't going to go down easy. I think that's what makes this so tough for Neeb. War Prism's going to do some fancy micro, but Bales may have won this game. His army supply is pretty good. His weapon upgrades are better. Neeb's going to have to pull all the stops. He's going to have to micro like a crazy madman with this Warp Prism. An impossible AI computer could not micro fast enough to deal with the amount of Adepts currently in play. And I think Neeb knows that too. Picking up that Immortal once again, but GG gets called and Bales takes the game. This is what we call an upset, folks. But it's 1 game out of 3, so not anywhere close to over just yet. Cool tactics out of Bales, though. I like it. Let's see if he can shut Neeb down. What was the second map, though? Galactic Process. Let me go host that up. WCS Game Hard mod. Active. And now I have to invite, like, literally 100 people to the lobby. Who's the Gauntlet guy? Element, Finny. Brownling. I think that's everybody. Well, these other dudes aren't taking the invites, and that's annoying. There we go. Alright. I'll take a moment here. We'll get everyone in. Alright. Well, it certainly would have been cool to see Neeb bring that game back, because I see a lot of you guys kind of hypothesizing in chat. I like that. That was such a sick response to a very unconventional build. I think I still I take my hat off to his reaction there, but not enough. By the way, question, Terminator 101, if you're still lurking in the chat, I just realized you're talking about D&D in your donation message. What do you play, bro? I played D&D one time, and I played a bard. It was awesome. I almost got to have sex with, like, a Naga thing. And then Fear Dragon ruined it, and we never played D&D ever again. Feels bad, man. But if you can believe it, here in the round of 8 for the KeSPA Cup North American Qualifiers, currently leading 1-0. Currently leading the series, guys. It's the Red Protoss Bales. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we got the blue Protoss Neeb. Now, in the intro for that last year's, like I said, like, Neeb was he's the king. This is his crown. This is his territory, North America. Please step aside if you're not Neeb. But Bales just took a game off of him, and that's really cool because this matchup, PvP, is so volatile. Players are either really good at it or really bad. It doesn't seem to be a lot of in-between. And objectively speaking, I would say Neeb is good at this matchup. But the cannon rush was weird, unexpected, and you know what? Cheese can beat some of the best players sometimes. So I'm not going to give this series to Bales just yet, but that's a great start. I do want to remind everybody, though, of the overall format of the tournament. There are 2 spots available through this qualifier. It's double elimination, so as we get closer and closer to that finals match, these players still have another chance to survive down below in the loser's bracket, in hell, so to speak. Wow, that was actually a massively grim way to describe that, and now I feel bad. But either way, loser's bracket is still going to be a tough ride either way. There's a lot of good players still down there. Just to name a few, Masa, Puck, like, you're going to have a bad time if you fall down. Not to mention players like Scarlet, Neeb, True, Violet, many others still had. True actually beat Major. Whoa! 2-1. So True plays against Violet in the other semifinals match. So that's some foreign Korean on foreign Korean action. Both of them are Korean players living in the United States. But of course, we told you guys the tales of Violet earlier, so I think Wardy is casting that, and if that's going to be the case, I wish him and the players the best of luck. But Pro being a little bit annoying, Neeb not really getting too much done, but was trying to deny some mineral patches. Don't know if that was necessarily too offsetting. Double Adepts also coming out from both players. Funny, because the PvP we cast earlier was, of course, lots of Stalkers. Now, one of the things about this matchup that is so silly is how much emphasis has gone towards Adepts. They're just... It's not even that they're so powerful. You know, they kill 2 workers in 2 shots, all that stuff. It's the fact that they are healthy and robust enough that you can't shut them down easily, that they become problematic to deal with, right? Like, if the situation calls for it, you're going to basically have those Adepts take a ton of hits before going down. Think roaches in that regard. But going to send those Adepts in, look for some kills. Bales, of course, has Photon Overcharge ready and available. And in fact, actually going to catch these Adepts out of Neeb, so Neeb's not going to get a chance. One Adept can't do much. Yeah, blast it all, he gets caught. Okay, well, still not too crazy and not such a bad thing for him. On the other side of the map, what is Neeb doing? I guess going towards that Robo and just kind of casually floating on in. Yo, Terminator also plays a Bard. What's up? I don't know anything about D&D. I'm really terrible at it. I played my loot and I charmed a few bitches. That's my D&D experience. My DM got really mad because I tried to flirt with death, and apparently you're not supposed to like do that. Ugh. Anyways, the transfer not going to go through, actually. Looks like he's ready to counter that. Catches the 2 Adepts in the middle of the map. Ooh. Not transfer through. I guess his were damaged, so it wasn't going to be worth the fight. Okay. Pylon set up here in the top left. Interesting. See if he can use that for much. It could be for a proxy like Dark Shrine if he wants to hide tech, but really it just is so out of place. Oh, what? Bales, what are you doing right now, bro? You're melting my mind grapes. He throws in a proxy Robo. He doesn't want Neeb to see that he's going for disruptors. But I think this is really weird because Neeb doesn't play the super Korean style of PvP that we've seen, at least, where it's fast zealots with charge and archons and what have you. He's just probably going to go to his own disruptors and get Blink at some point. The fact that he's already going for Blink tells me he's getting disruptors at some point in this game anyways. So this is kind of a cool tactic, and Bales doesn't want Neeb to see that he's doing this. It's, I think, ultimately not going to matter. 2 warp prisms pass each other in the middle of the map. That was really, really uncomfortable to watch. And it looks like he should be able to intercept this with his Stalkers. He did move. Oh, these ones caught that real bad. Oh, this goes badly for Neeb. Catching no breaks over here. Meanwhile, this warp prism didn't get to go to the main, but it didn't die. So he's still got some possibility to use it. Whereas, unfortunately, Bales... Or sorry, excuse me, Neeb doesn't. And now Bales is moving on to disruptors. That might get scouted by Hallucinating Face. No, it won't. There's no way to tell. It's not like a Stargate where you can see what's building. Neeb probably thinks he's got time. But okay, so let's talk about, let's go over the pros and cons of this, right? So like on one hand, okay, this actually kind of totally sucks that he doesn't know that the disruptor's coming. However, I don't think that necessarily puts him in a terrible spot because he's going for Blink Stalkers. Most of his army's going to be mobile enough that if, let's say, those disruptor shots come in, he should be able to just blink away from them or blink on top of the disruptors and focus them down. It all depends on how these engagements go. But the problem is, oh no. Guys, I hate to say it. This is going to be such a fucking mind sweep, like mind-blowing moment if Bales wins this game because Neeb's going for a lot of gateways right now. He's getting his disruptors out later. There's so much of this that says he's not worried about disruptors, and he's getting everything that could get blown away by it. Like if right now he uses all of his money and makes double robos and like double robo facilities and 1 robo bay, there you go, robo for robo, right? And he gets his own production up, he can actually overtake Bales, no doubt about it. I hope that Phoenix, you know what, I don't think he saw disruptors. They're in the warp prism. Oh no. If he keeps up with Immortals and he warps in things like Adepts, that's the last thing he wants. He doesn't want Adepts. He doesn't want Sentries. He really doesn't want Zealots. He needs Blink Stalkers. Immortals are kind of like a so because you can get a barrier. They can soak a Disruptor shop. Oh, no. These two Disruptors could make or break this fight in a really big and crazy way. Bales has already got a massive army supply lead. Neeb doesn't really have that much of a bank where you're like, oh, well, all those gateways he just made are going to, like, roll on in. He's seen the Disruptors now. There's got to be a little bit of panic for him. He's warping in more Adepts. I don't know about these Adepts, guys. On one hand, he needs the Adepts to counter Bale's Adepts, to fight them head on. But these Adepts will not be what he wants to have versus Disruptors. Oh. Not good. The wall being broken down slowly is kind of a small catch, I guess. He's buying himself a little bit of time. He can see what's coming. Maybe get a shot or two of these stalkers and blink away. But that War Prism's just going to pick up those Disruptors. It's unlikely that he gets easy kills on them. But seeing the Adept Shade gets canceled, there's one Disruptor out for Neeb. Maybe he gets a clutch shot here on the side. Look at the pocket on top of those Disruptors. Kills one of Bale's Disruptors. Oh, and he brings up the army supply even now. Taking out one of his opponent's biggest damaging units. That supply count means nothing right now for Bales because it's all in the favor of Neeb. But oh, the Disruptor comes in and gets another good shot. So Bale's also going to be trading this out. Both players with one Disruptor each, but Defender's advantage means Disruptors for Neeb will be here sooner than they'll be there for Bales. Gets the other Disruptor. He tried to pick it up, but the Adepts were in the Warp Prism, hogging the space. Bales has to back away from this engagement. He can no longer fight without his own Disruptors. I really think it's a window of opportunity there where maybe he could have won, but he played a bit passive. Maybe he gave Neeb just that little bit too much time to get that first and only Disruptor he needed. But that one Disruptor from Neeb, that very first shot, it didn't matter that it killed any Adepts versus lots of Adepts. It's the fact that it hit one of Bale's own Disruptors. All the difference in time in the world made through that shot. There's a Warp Prism going down south. It's got speed, and it's got a Disruptor with it. Maybe he gets a couple of probe kills. This is that time of the game where mineral patches are mining out. Units are stacked up. Oh, if he gets kills here, that's going to be nasty, to say the least. Coming in looking for shots. Put on Overcharge, going to drive that off. Picks off the Warp Prism. Kaboom! And, of course, they had the Disruptor inside of it, so even worse for that. Alright, so let's talk about where the game's at, though. While there's a lot of action and a lot of things went poorly for Bales, he was on his third faster than Neeb. Neeb's only just finishing up the base as we speak. Transfers probes over. You don't really need a 70 probe count. You're not on 4 bases, you're only on 3 with your main mined out. So, really, the low probe count is fine for this point of the game. Oh, you don't want it to be too low, though, and the Adepts transferring it might help with that. Yeah, Overcharge goes off, and the probe's just kind of cowering and hiding. Okay, where does this go next, right? Like, on one hand, the players could stick to Disruptor versus Disruptor, Blink Stalkers aplenty, get upgrades, you name it. Neeb's actually be going towards Archons, but I'm wondering if Bales might be willing to throw in a Stargate. He's playing a little more crafty, and yes! Oh, Bales, first off, you make me look smart, so thank you. But secondly, I think you're smart for doing this. One of the big aspects to this is the idea of Graviton beaming up those Disruptors. They're not massive units. It'll cancel their shot. The Phoenix might die in the process of getting that Graviton beam off, but if you can cancel those Disruptor damages, like even a little bit, that's huge. So that'll be really nice to see. Meanwhile, Warp Prism gonna go up around the side of the map. It's not gonna find that Robo or anything. It would be nice though because it would cut out production of his opponent. Bale sitting on 2 Disruptors at a time. Trying to take a 4th is a pretty smart idea. Neeb might be wanting to start thinking about that as well, but right now I don't think this is so much an economy game as it is really a unit composition game, we'll say. Bale's also, by the way, I really thought this was going to be going for Phoenix. It opens up with an Oracle instead. Not bad considering Revelation is an invaluable tool, but to pair this up with like the Dark Shrine that follows, I really don't think this is for DTs. I don't think this is for anything other than just trying to get more cost-effective Archons out. Neeb, by the way, catches Bales on the way to attack his own base, so a bit awkward out here in the middle of the map. That Guardian Shield, very important, by the way. It's keeping the Stalkers from blinking in because they would not one-shot, one volley down the Adepts or the Disruptor like they normally would. Okay, a little bit awkward, so he can't unload anything here. He realizes that too. He drives Bales back. Bales comes back home, and Neeb secures his side of the map, taking a 4th base as we speak. And I guess that War Prism really wants some damage. The Mothership Core, unfortunately, was not good enough to get it. There's that Phoenix. Now, I really thought he was going to go for more for the Disruptors, but either way, the Phoenix comes out and should be able to shut down that War Prism. Boom. Falls down to the ground. Dark Shrine, though, again, like, this could be for DTs. Maybe 1 or 2 sneak around the map. You got to consider there's no cannons in these mineral lines. There's no easy mode defense. But more likely than not, it's just, again, Archons through Dark Shrine is a little bit more cost effective on minerals versus gas than High Templar are, because High Templar just take way too much gas. And if you're trying to produce 2 Disruptors at a time, you don't have that much gas to spare. But when it comes to big Disruptor counts, we saw it earlier today, you could have like 13 Disruptors versus 5, you can have 20 Disruptors versus 10. At the end of the day, if you're clumped up and they get a good hit and you get nothing for it, you're going to feel bad every single time. Disruptor shots come down to who can like get that microsecond of a shot off first, who's in a better position, and who's paying more attention to what's going on. Because as we're witnessing here, they're very notorious for clumping up. And those Disruptors get obliterated on the ramp for it. Coming in the backside was a clever idea out of Bales, but the Stalkers were too quick to the trigger. Another Disruptor gets pulled off, and Bales is being pulled apart by this army. He's got Revelation on this too. I want to just add in, so he knows. He knows every step that his opponent's making, and it's still not good enough for him. Transfer might actually go off so he can focus on top of one of the Disruptors. If you guys saw that, got some pretty good shots. Adepts, though, a little bit wasteful on the front lines. Disruptor shots going to make all the world of difference for who gets to fight with what. Revelation gets tagged on the army once again, and then Oracle lives a little bit longer. These Disruptors are just longing to get in here and get some of those big bad boy hits, but it's not happening. Bales always just barely trailing behind his opponent. Neeb, on the other hand, by the way, I want to point out, did throw in a Stargate, but also a Fleet Beacon and a second Stargate. Maybe contemplating using Tempest and their range to take on these Disruptors of Neeb instead of trying to take a brute force fight and dive in there with, say, Phoenix, for example. Plus 2 weapons also finishing up for Neeb in a moment's time. And while Bales has done a lot of things right this game, he unfortunately is falling further behind Neeb. And the macro from Neeb just really, really pulling ahead. This is a endurance marathon when it comes to macro. And currently Neeb is doing a little bit better. That Disruptor shot was pretty nice. Again, it comes into that split second time, and who can get this down a fraction of a second sooner than the other. Oh man, who is gonna take this game? I don't even. Everything here, like all signs point to Neeb, but at the same time, though we've seen Bales make a couple of mistakes, if Neeb's complacent for even 1 Disruptor shot, if he loses all of his Disruptors to like 1 or 2 shots, this game could also be over in the other way. So it's a little bit. Oh, like yeah, he almost friendly fired his own units. What if you guys saw that from Bales? Ah, it's a little bit hard to watch these Disruptor shots. I feel at this point what we're watching is the equivalent of StarCraft 2 Golf, where it's very important who gets the ball in the hole, who putts the better shot, but it's boring and slow getting to that point. I will say, though, without a doubt in my mind, between watching the games played and talking to players, this is one of the most stressful matchups to play right now, especially when it gets to this position. But I think it's a little bit easier for Neeb. The fact that he's winning on that race to Tempest is kind of like when Bales was winning on that race to Disruptors. It'll give him an advantage early on, and maybe Bales will have some time to respond to it, but initially, Neeb's going to get a couple of free Disruptors, and if Bales bleeds too many of those out, then the main army's just going to A-move in, blank Stalkers to take their course, and oh, I don't know why he pushed up that ramp. There was nothing to gain from pushing into the natural right now. Pressure the 4th. Pressure where the money is, right? Transfer from these Adepts also going to come through. But he also sees the Fleet Beacon and the Stargates in the process, so he now knows it's going to be Tempest versus Tempest at some point. And I'll tell you guys, well, I made a golf joke now about the Disruptors. They are far more interesting to watch than Tempest versus Tempest. Oh my god. Tempest versus Tempest is the most dumb thing in StarCraft 2. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still cool, admittedly. But subjectively to me, I think Tempest versus Tempest is one of the most annoying things to watch. And gotta be one of the most frustrating things to be like, no! No! What are you doing? Just go! I really wish disruptor shots would not block one another, but deflect one another. So like if you got a disruptor coming down the ramp and up the ramp at the same time, they'll like just go opposite directions on momentum. Nice shot out of Neeb, by the way. It takes out 2 or 3 of those disruptors. Units lost at this point, really 16 disruptors to 7. It's small little amounts of shaving here and there, but in every way in that units lost and the resources lost tab, Neeb is winning this game. Now he's not on a 5th base yet. He's establishing that now. Lots of cannons coming to play. But I think the Tempests are pretty, yeah, we're just slowly pushing this back. What can you do at this point? You gotta make your own Tempest. Mass Phoenix don't cut it. Not with the amount of stalkers underneath this. Got weapon upgrades coming out of Neeb as well. He's even going charge lots. I actually really like the late game charge lot transition. Once you remove the disruptors from play, I feel like charge lots are the better unit to make. Not just in terms of actually fighting an army like this, but using them against, say, Tempests. Tempests aren't going to want to be wasting their shots on charge lots. The charge lots can't be ignored. They do a ton of damage. I love that, by the way, that little bit of micro going on here at the Watchtower while both players fight / run with their armies. So the multitasking out of these two have been insane. Credit goes to Bales. Even if he loses this game, it looks like he will. Like, this was a really well-fought game for him. But, man, the Tempest count, it's 10-3. Tempests are not that expensive, but there's just no way you can test that number. Let's even microing back the low one. Cannon gets depowered. Army now on top of the base. If Neeb loses this game, I quit. I'm just gonna take a baseball bat to my monitor because I'll realize at that point I don't understand how StarCraft works anymore. Base goes down, probes getting pulled away, and I mean this will probably be the last fight. That army supply's been bleeding out so slowly, and he's been trying to store up Tempest. He's trying to get a mothership out even for some stealth. But this isn't going to come down necessarily to the Tempest and a Tempest versus Tempest war as I had feared. I mean, it still might. But Graviton Catapult's finishing up for Neeb, and he's thinking about carriers. And I like this move. Even if it's only 3 or 4, I still think carriers are going to be a huge amount of damage that this Tempest just can't contest. Yeah, you might be able to volley down one of the carriers, but by the time the carriers have unloaded all their interceptors on top of the Tempest, they're dead too. And unfortunately, the attack's so slow that none of that will matter. I am a bit sad that they're talking about taking away the drop interceptor ability. I do think it's one of the coolest, best parts about the carrier right now, but eh. Let's see here. He's been slowly banking up 10 Tempests while this goes on, buying his time. He's got the mothership in the moment too, so there'll be stealth, and I don't believe Neeb doesn't have detection. He's got 1 observer. That could be a problem. But at the same time, the mothership might die so fast that cloak won't be the issue either. But alright, gonna take their shots and chase away Neeb. But Neeb's already killed 1, 2, 3 bases worth of things. Like, this base has been kind of cut out as well. I'm really waiting for those carriers to come out. I think that's gonna be really fun to see. But ultimately, let's not forget, Tempest do deal a lot of bonus damage versus massive 44 shot, which is what carriers are. The Immortals might be just given away here because Neeb wants to clear up some supply. In fact, that's going to be the case as he gets his own mothership back at home. And the Graviton Catapult upgrade, for those who don't know, because I referenced it earlier, it lets you launch the interceptors a lot faster. But again, at the end of the day, if you're just using the dump interceptor ability, or release interceptors, excuse me, that's not such an important upgrade. But either way, the carriers are going to be such a shock to Bales, I feel. The mothership's really far from finishing, but we got 4 more carriers coming out, so even if these first ones go down, she will have some damage with her. What's detection like for Bales, though? We talked about Neeb having no detection, and Bales is kind of in that same boat. There's no detection. Oh my god. So slowly chipping away at the cannons and the pylons and whatever he can really get his hands on, whatever he can reach. But I tell you, as soon as those carriers get in range to release the interceptors, they can just fly away. They might lose 1 carrier in the process, and yes, that's expensive. But again, going back to the point that those interceptors will kill all those Tempests. Problem is, though, you can't release anything if you can't see what you're releasing on. So there we go. He dumps out 1 carrier's worth of units. The Tempest actually takes such a long time to clean them up with that Mothership. There we go. Mothership gone. No more stealth problems to worry about. Lands the Disruptors on the ground. And the carriers are trying to... There we go. They unload the Interceptors. The reason this is a big deal is because the carriers can continue on fighting essentially while dead. The Stalkers also focusing underneath this. And Neeb has done it. GG. 22 minutes into this game 2. And the series will get tied up 1-1 by Neeb. But guys, my throat's killing me. I'm going to break. We'll get this 3rd game up. Winner of this plays Scarlet. Winner of this next game plays Scarlet. So stick around and we'll see you soon. Okay, sorry, I'm hacking a cough in my lungs out there. Getting into game number 3. You're watching the KeSPA Cup qualifiers. Abracabra! Alright. And this is the deciding match in the round of 8 to see who goes on to fight against Scarlet in the semifinals. It's guaranteed she will fight a ZVP, but it's about which P she decides to Z. That actually sounded kind of lewd, so pretend I didn't say that, okay? In the bottom right, moving on, it's the blue Protoss Bales. Of course, repping that Ting tag. Which, as a side note, guys, if you didn't know, the bttv.ting.com link is still active. If you want to save some money while signing up with Ting, make sure to check it out. Top right side of the map is going to be the red Protoss Bales. And actually, while I'm selling up for Ting for a moment, if you didn't see, someone posted on Reddit earlier today, it was kind of cool. I guess they got their swag. So during the finals of the Ting Open Season 2, we ran a bracket prediction contest, and I know like 50 people or something got picked to just get like random swag. Some people actually won like the phone, the brand new phone. But yeah, cool to see. So make sure to give Ting some love, guys. And if you live in the United States explicitly and especially, I can't. My brain's done with words. Check out Ting, because it could save you some money in your phone bill. But anyways, enough about them. I'm actually looking forward to seeing... I know that, okay, Neeb's going to be at BlizzCon, that's cool, whatever, but Jesse, Ting's rep, who got us sponsored by them in the first place and is the one who picked up Neeb, is also going to be there. So I look forward to saying hi to him again. But shoutouts to Triss and all the mods. Thank you for helping take care of the channel. Billy Bob, I see you in there. I know Diminish was around earlier, and thank you guys for taking care of stuff on the solo YOLO cast. I know a lot of people seem to think I'm the one who bans and times things out. I almost never get to spend time in chat, so it's nice to have you knowing that you guys got my back. Now, as the probes dance around, there's not really a lot to dance around for. Bales is going to open with Adepts. And actually, Neeb's going to go Stalkers, so a bit of a difference this time around. I think the Adepts, in my opinion, are still my favorite of the 2 openers when we watch players go for this. The skilled players that can, of course, get to the mineral lines, stay away from the pylons, chill back here. And that's why Neeb's going to build a pylon. I like that. He's playing it safe. He might not have known it was Adepts, taking a bit of a guess. He'll see that in a moment with that probe running home. No, dude, you're so dead. I'm so sorry. You're on borrowed time, brah. They're gonna transfer again. They'll get you on the other side. See you on the other side. Yeah. Man, that took a lot of shots to kill a probe. I'm just saying. Anyways, the Stalkers can fight the Adepts in a fight, but not like this. He sends the other Stalker back home, hoping to catch the transfer, but he didn't transfer. He's actually just fighting with the Stalker, so might be better off just running away. Stalkers, of course, do outrange Adepts. Hell, if you guys didn't even know this, Marines actually outrange Adepts by 1. The Stalkers outrange Marines. So transitive property states Bale shouldn't fight a Stalker. But both players are going to take a Nexus. This wasn't anything too dedicated. But this was a really good deflection out of Neeb. They might be like, Rifkin, this is just a small thing. What are you complimenting that for? But he took no damage. And 2 Adept openers meant to do a little bit of damage. So very nicely done. Meanwhile, it looks like he's just gonna sneak around south, try it again. But Neeb is like a prison warden, dude. He's on top of it. He's not letting these Adepts escape and go anywhere. But okay, well, this isn't that important. He does have his own adepts going across the map, and that might actually be more important because as far as Bales is concerned, you know, he's busy dancing with these stalkers and might not be thinking anything along the lines of defense. As he does transfer through to the main, there are a lot of things that will kill him though, so he's kind of limited on where he can go. Oh, Anti-010 says, I got my swag today. Whoop. Dude, tweet me a picture. I think you got like a shirt, a hat for sure, some stickers. They give you this cool thing you put on the back of your phone that makes it easier to hold. I wish I lost mine in Texas, unfortunately, when we went to DreamHack. But next time I see Jesse, I've requested to get another one of them because they're awesome. Well, Solaris calls and chats. It was him who posted on Reddit. Nice. I wasn't looking because I'm a terrible observer. It looks like 3 probes did die, so those adepts finally got over on this side. But Proxy goes down once again. It's same deal out of Bales. He doesn't want Neeb to know about those disruptors. So that's kind of cool because on one hand, all right, this kind of almost worked for him in game 2, and then didn't, and we had 20 minutes of carriers and tempests. But the timing was so close to being there. I think he realized that too. So he wants to make it work, and he wants to make it work on Frost of all places. Nice pickup control out of Neeb. It would certainly be cool if Bales got this to work, and it would be more impressive if he took a 2-1 over Neeb. But once again, the likelihood of this is not very high, and I'm certainly rooting for Bales to show us something crazy and surprise everyone on these brackets, but yeah, it's hard to see Neeb losing, especially after that last game. First game was already surprising enough to me. The cannon rush, I was like, what? He's gonna reset after this warp prism to chase it. And he'll be fine too. He's got stalkers and sentries in position. Dr. Sky 255. Great job, Caston. Keep it up. That was the closest I could do for a Scotsman accent, man. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for the 7 months. Yeah, it's starting to wear on me, guys. I know Wardy's been casting longer than me today, so I shouldn't be whining, but I'm an old grumpy man now who doesn't have energy, who's sick and still recovering. So that's my excuse. That's my point of reasoning for being already exhausted. Like I said, I guarantee you, I promise you, unless something terrible goes wrong with hardware or the internet, I will stick this out at least for the winners bracket finals and find one of the players who qualify through. I'll see how I'm feeling at that point. But dude, Terminator dropped us that big 200 note. I gotta keep going as long as I can. It'd just be bad not to. As the disruptor comes yonder, it's got as the warp prism comes yonder, it's got 2 disruptors in it. Fair question coming out of chat saying, why didn't Pult play in the qualifiers? Pult doesn't need to play in the KeSPA Cup. You could argue Neeb and some others don't either, but they want to secure their spot to BlizzCon and probably just challenge themselves, much less get some money for it. Pult has been kind of, I want to say, like, he came out strong at the start of the year, but he's been kind of just coasting since then. And I don't mean in terms of skill, don't get me wrong, Pult's a fantastic player, and if anyone tries to tell you otherwise, slap him in the face, but he hasn't needed to since he secured his spot to BlizzCon. That's why you haven't seen him participate in every single event. Plus, let's be honest, Pult's probably like smart and did things with his money, like invest it or put it in a bank account. Talk more on that point in a moment. Those first 2 disruptor shots were pretty nasty. Neeb's actually in a fair amount of trouble as the Immortals start going down to the front lines. The Adepts back away from that overcharge, and the force fields from both sentries are starting to wear off. But the one thing I'm worried about is those disruptors are coming off cooldown soon and looking for some more damage. The Warp Prism did manage to unload and get a couple of probes on this side. 10 workers go down, but that might not matter so much because Neeb, he did this thing where he fully walled off the main. Oh, Bales just screwed up by like a centimeter. Oh my god, that disruptor shot was just shy of killing Neeb's. And if that disruptor out of Neeb went down, Bales takes this fight without question. But now this is deja vu all over again, where Neeb gets a clutch hit with his first disruptor, kills one of Bale's disruptors, and now Bales has lost a lot of powerhouse in his army. He might transfer through, he might not. It's gonna be hard to tell. It's up to the player call on this one, but disruptor for disruptor, these adepts are gonna take damage. That's it! That's everything in Bale's army! That's game! GG! Neeb just won this game with 1 glorious disruptor shot and moves on to the semifinals where he's gonna fight against Scarlet. Whew. On the other side of the bracket, though, I'm sad to report that True has defeated Violet. Violet not out of the tournament yet, but that puts him in the loser's bracket, reducing his chance of winning and getting those oh-so-critical WCS points to break that tie he currently has with a laser. That being said, guys, it's time for a break. I need to go to the bathroom, and the next match, the next series, is going to be the one you all voted for. It's Neeb versus Scarlet. So stick around, and I'll see you guys in a bit. We'll just go to the longer break screen, because this will be a longer break. There's no doubt about it. So, whoops, cut myself off early. Be back soon! Love your faces!